Hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon from wherever you are tuning in from. My name is Ransi, and I am the organizer for the GDG Cloud Bangalore. It's my pleasure to welcome you all for today's session. So, before we begin the session, I would like to mention that the GDG Cloud Bangalore recently touched the 5,000 plus member mark, and we have been growing ever since the launch about 2 years back. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all and join our meetup group at the GDG Cloud Bangalore, which is accessible at meetup.com/GDG GDGCBLR. Okay, so that's meetup.com/GDGCBLR. All right. So for today's session, we are going to be covering serverless and to look at all the new things around serverless from a GCP perspective. The speaker for the day is Kaivalya Shah, who is a cloud automation engineer with deep insights in infrastructure and networking. He is one of the very few to hold multiple professional level certifications from Google Cloud and also AWS. He is an open source contributor to the Kubernetes ecosystem and also a certified Kubernetes administrator. So it's a pleasure to host you, Kaivalya. Over to you and take it away.
Thank you, Ransi. Welcome everyone. In today's session, I hope you are having a good day, or I hope you will have a good day today after attending this session. So today we are going to talk about what is new with serverless on Google Cloud. So the agenda is to give an overview of the serverless offerings from GCP, and then focus mainly on Cloud Functions and Cloud Run. What are the new features in those services, and then other serverless announcements in GCP. So just to start off about what is serverless. So serverless is a term, a very broad term which encompasses various sorts of services. There are compute services, data services, task services, and basically any service where you do not need to manage your own VM, or you do not need to log into a machine to configure your operating system, that can be categorized as a serverless service. So today we will focus on the compute serverless services, and in particular Cloud Functions and Cloud Run. App Engine, as you might know, is one of the oldest services in Google Cloud, and it is a very mature service. There have been two offerings from App Engine, standard and flexible. So as it is very mature, there have not been many feature announcements or new features this year at Google Next. So I will talk more on Cloud Functions and Cloud Run. So just to start off with the comparison of these three services, they are all compute services, and each one has a different use case. This is a tabular form of the features and the particular use cases that are relevant to each service. I have put in a link to the video comparing these services, and these slides will also be available to the community, so you can have a look at the video uh, to compare each of these services. And there is a nice decision tree available on the Google documentation as well. And it starts off with with the kind of app that you are building, and it then goes deeper and deeper, ultimately giving you four options like Cloud Run for Anthos, App Engine, or Cloud Functions. So so this is a decision tree that you can use to get a initial understanding, and I've also put in the link to this page on the Google Cloud documentation. So yeah, coming to Cloud Functions. So Cloud Functions is what you can call a typical serverless compute service. You just give your code to Cloud Functions, and it will execute it in a trigger-based manner, based on the trigger that you specify. It can be a Google Cloud event, or an HTTP trigger, or a PubSub queue trigger, and Cloud Function takes care of building your source code, and executing it within the time limit and the resources that you can specify for each instance. Um, there is of course a limitation of the runtimes due to this, as it is a completely managed service. You only have some options for the runtime, and explaining more on that. The first announcement for Cloud Functions is the addition of the .NET Core, Java, and Ruby runtimes for Cloud Functions. So this takes the overall compatibility to all of these languages that you can see here. So it's a pretty wide choice and covers a lot of use cases. But if you are not using one of these languages for your code, then you have to then go for another serverless service, maybe App Engine or Cloud Run, depending on how you want to use it. The next announcement is the availability of Cloud Functions in a lot of more regions, 11 new regions to be specific, and that takes the service to 19 regions globally, which is a pretty awesome thing. And it says you can pretty much use Cloud Functions in most of the regions on Google Cloud. The next announcement for Cloud Functions is a UI change. It has included a nicer code viewer and a code editor, an inline editor, and you can see the files in a nicer way. This was already there earlier, but it's a UX change. Um, a new security feature in Cloud Functions is the ability to fine-grain the IAM permission. So not only can you control what principals or what entities can invoke a Cloud Function. So if you see the image at the top, you can clearly define that only your Cloud Scheduler would be able to trigger the Cloud Function, and if any other user or service tries to invoke the Cloud Function, it will not be able to do that. So that is one fine grain permission in IAM called Cloud Function Invoker. The other security feature is not new, but it's again related to the ability to fine grain the IAM permissions, where if you use a service account with your Cloud Function, you can assign specific roles to the service account of your Cloud Function, and make sure that you are following the principle of least privilege, so that your Cloud Function can only access the resources on Google Cloud that you intend for it to access. The other announcement for Cloud Functions is the ability to specify a max instances flag in the gcloud command. You can also do this from the console. So this is very useful if you want to have a fixed limit on the scale of your Cloud Function. It can grow to any number of instances by default. So it's good to have a limit and make sure that it's not overexposed or overutilized in case there is a misuse. So that is it for Cloud Functions. I would be glad to hear your thoughts. Feel free to write in the comments if you have any questions. Coming to Cloud Run. So Cloud Run is my favorite cloud service ever, and I'll explain to you what it does. Maybe it will become your favorite cloud service ever as well. So it's basically a serverless service where you can provide your own container. It can be any OCI compliant image, and you just provide an image to Cloud Run, and it handles the scaling, the execution, and serving the container for you. So it was announced at Google Next 2019, and since then it has seen a lot of updates. And even this year, I think this is one of those services along with Anthos to see the most feature updates. So there are a lot of features to cover today for Cloud Run. Um, it gives you a HTTPS interface for your container, so that you can expose it to the public or a private endpoint. And it has also added a support for custom domains recently. So you can also, from within the console, you can buy a custom domain and have your Cloud Run service serving on that domain. Um, Cloud Run is basically based on Knative, which is an open source project from Google. Knative has two main components, eventing and serving, and you can read more about it from the Knative website. It's a very widely appreciated and widely used project, and Cloud Run is basically a managed version of the Knative project. Now, Cloud Run supports two ways of running the containers. As you saw earlier, you have the Cloud Run managed service and Cloud Run for Anthos. So the main difference of Cloud Run managed service and for Anthos is, if you want the service to run on your own infrastructure, you can easily use it with Anthos and run the Cloud Run services, the containers basically on your GKE cluster or even on your on-prem clusters. So that is one of the benefits with Cloud Run for Anthos. There is, of course, the ability of scaling to zero and pay per use when you are not using the service, or there are no invocations for your service. You do not pay for anything. So that's one of the major advantages with the serverless, of course. The first feature or an announcement is the general availability of Cloud Run with a 99.95% SLA. This is a pretty big deal for enterprises, and these SLAs often define the reliability and gives you a guarantee basically of the availability of the service. The next announcement is the regional availability of Cloud Run. It's finally available in the Mumbai region. It was announced last month, and this takes it to a total of 21 regions. And that is pretty amazing if you think about it. The service is just 1 year old, and it is growing so rapidly. And Google has managed to make it available in 21 regions worldwide. The next major announcement for Cloud Run is serverless VPC access. So when you run a Cloud Run service privately, you would often want to invoke it from a virtual machine in your VPC, or you would want to access something in a virtual machine in your private VPC. If not a virtual machine, you can also use it with a memory store or a Cloud SQL with private IP. And this all goes through your VPC completely encrypted and private, so you can be ensured that that all of the data is secure. If I understood correctly, it also supports the ability to communicate with peered VPC networks, which is pretty awesome. If if I would like to emphasize on the the impact of it, I don't think there are any other cloud services or on any other cloud vendors which have the ability to communicate across peered VPCs, like managed services across peered VPCs. So that is a great achievement from a networking point of view. The next feature for Cloud Run is focused on the developer experience and making it easy to deploy newer versions and rolling back of the versions um, of your service. Um, you can split traffic between versions as well, and this gives you the ability to have the DevOps practices like blue green deployments, canary deployments, and all of the DevOps strategies inbuilt. It also gives you a unique URL for each version, so you can easily test your version. This is available from the gcloud CLI with the command gcloud beta run services update traffic, as well as from the console. The console has a very nice UI with a sliding percentage of the traffic between the revisions. So that is possible from both of the interfaces. So I would take, I think there was one question from Mohit. What are your views regarding cold start of Google Cloud Functions versus AWS Lambda functions? Yes, Mohit. So so AWS Lambda has the ability to keep some Lambda functions warm. I don't think it's um, currently there for Cloud Functions, but for Cloud Run, there has been an announcement, and Cloud Run has the ability to keep some instances warm for you. And actually, when you specify to keep a certain number of instances warm in Cloud Run, even the pricing is lower than when you are actually serving traffic from your service. So that is a great announcement from Cloud Run. I don't think I have added it from the slides, but that's one additional news. Continuing with the developer experience for Cloud Run. So a lot of people are already using Knative, and of course with the Kubernetes clusters and the Knative project, you have to use YAML to define your services. So you can use the same YAML definitions for your Knative service and use it with Cloud Run. So there is no need to change your YAML to be able to use it with Cloud Run. And Cloud Code is an IDE extension for Visual Studio Code and IntelliJ, which gives you the ability to test the code locally. So you will be able to emulate the exact environment for both Cloud Run and Cloud Functions locally from within your IDE, and that helps with the overall experience where you don't need to push and deploy your code to test changes every time. So that's a great feature for local testing and development. Um, the next new feature is also pretty great, which is continuous deployment for Cloud Run. So now in Cloud Run, you can specify your cloud source repository. If you see here, the source has been defined as GitHub, and you can also tie this up with another tool called Buildpack. I will be coming to Buildpack later, but simply put, you have the ability to configure continuous deployment natively now, such that when you push your code, an image can be created and it can be deployed on Cloud Run easily, automatically. This is a feature that has been lacking on Cloud Functions, and I felt the absence of it in Cloud Functions many times. We can hope that this feature is introduced for Cloud Functions, because it's pretty much a no-brainer, where it will improve the experience greatly for like Cloud Function users. After all of the developer experience features, we come to the added flexibility of Cloud Run. So there are some increased limits on memory, CPU, and timeout. So now you can have your Cloud Run services with up to 4 gigabytes of memory, up to 4 vCPUs, and up to 1 hour of timeouts. Previously, it was 15 minutes, and maybe Google realized that there are some use cases for longer executing services as well. So now you can have your service running for up to 1 hour before it will be terminated. You can specify minimum instances, like I said, that's the pre-warmed number of instances, like I explained. Um, SIG term is one of the features where when the timeout of your Cloud Run service is nearing, Cloud Run now sends a SIG term signal, and if it is handled in your code, the service has around 10 seconds to wrap up all of the work and either push the logs or save the state or write to a database, however you want to handle the SIG term. And this is a new addition which I think is would be appreciated. Another great feature is gRPC support. So earlier there was only HTTP support for Cloud Run. Now you can actually serve gRPC from your Cloud Run services, which is pretty awesome. There is an added support of server-side streaming for HTTP as well as gRPC. So this removes the response limit for 32 megabytes and the ability to stream your responses to your clients. So just to wrap up all of the Cloud Run announcements, this is a list of all of the features that we talked about. I want to give one shout out to the project manager of Cloud Run, Steren, and I have linked a tweet in this slide. If you just go to the tweet, it is a long list of subtweets with every major feature of Cloud Run announced. As soon as it is announced, Steren make sure that he tweets about it and maintains a single source for all of your Cloud Run features. So that is it for all of the features for a Cloud Run. And now coming to the other serverless features that are not limited to Cloud Functions or Cloud Run. These are pretty much useful for all of these services. The first one is HTTPS load balancing for serverless. This is also a great feature. Taking into account, we get the best-in-class global load balancing from Google and have the ability to serve the Cloud Functions and Cloud Run services with this global load balancer. This is possible because of serverless network endpoint groups. That is basically the implementation detail where you can create a network endpoint group with your Cloud Function and your Cloud Run services and assign it as a backend service to the load balancer, which is pretty great. And I would love to discuss more if anyone has a question on it. Of course, this brings the multi-region and the global Anycast support with the global load balancer and the premium networking of the cloud load balancing. It also adds the ability for CDN and IAP. So CDN is pretty much what you think it means. It means that you can enable CDN on the load balancer and the points of presence from the Google network will serve your requests if they are cached in the CDN. And IAP is maybe my second favorite service in all of cloud, across vendors. So IAP is identity aware proxy, and it has multiple ways of providing access to your private services and your private VMs. So in specific to cloud run and cloud functions, you can enable IAP on the HTTPS load balancer, and you can basically add a Google sign-in page um, for your users before they access your service. So this helps to reduce the load on your services, and of course have authorization layer before any user can access your service. IAP is controlled via IAM permissions. So each IAP service can have its own set of users who will be able to access the service. And the IAM permission is called HTTPS resource accessor. So if a particular user has the HTTPS resource accessor permission for a service, that user will be able to access the service, and that really helps with having a global uh, authentication and authorization with the fine-grained permissions managed. And the last feature that load balancing enables you to use is Cloud Armor, which is the global DDoS protection feature. And Cloud Armor can be enabled on the load balancer, and you can add the Cloud Armor policies just like you would for any HTTPS load balancer, and it would just work natively with Cloud Run and Cloud Functions. Um, so now coming to the feature which I talked or which I mentioned earlier, build packs. So build packs are basically a tool which can be used to package your application code into a container, and it basically eliminates the need to write a Docker file. So if you have your application code in one of the supported languages, you can either use the pack CLI. So pack build and a name, and then you pass the builder. It will automatically detect the programming language, and it will build a container for you. This is all open source, and um, its source is publicly available, so you can inspect into the base container image and decide if you would use the base image of build pack. And it is maintained by Google. It is of course security reviewed by Google, so it's what they use internally for App Engine and Cloud Functions. So this is one of the features which was developed for internal use, and just made public to make other people be able to use this tool. It's also now integrated with the Cloud Build, so you don't need to install the Pack CLI to use Pack build pack. You can just run the command gcloud alpha build submit, and then --pack with the uh, with the image URL of where you want what you want the image name to be. It will build the application code into an image and upload it um, to the container repository, the one you specified. And I have put in a link of the source code of build packs if you would like to have a look at it. The next feature is called functions framework, and this is also an internal feature that was made public. Uh, so this is how cloud functions are executed, and the functions framework basically manages the serving of a function, and the marshalling and demarshalling of the input events of the trigger events, and making sure that the events are properly translated to the programming language, and it executes the function based on the inputs. So it's available for most all of the languages that Cloud Functions support. I've given an example of Node.js here because I guess it's one of the most widely used ones. So I use it in my development almost every day, and I highly recommend it if you develop Cloud Functions on in any language. But for Node.js especially, it's very easy to install the library and get started with local testing. So it will give you just exactly the same environment as Cloud Functions, and you can easily do the local testing and rapid development basically. There is a documentation link that I have specified here, and you can have a look for more details. Um, so what these uh, tools allow us to do is with functions framework and build packs, you essentially can have your own cloud function service where you just provide the application code, and using build packs you can build a container image, and using the functions framework you can execute the function just as if you are running on Cloud Function. And functions framework allows you to integrate with any cloud event. It supports the open source cloud events standard, and you can have an HTTP trigger, you can have a message queue trigger, or any other cloud event compatible trigger that you would like, and that would pretty much be like your own cloud functions in your local environment. So you can also use this for testing and deploying to Cloud Run or any other container environment for that matter. So this is more about the developer experience and the local development. So I think this is the last slide, and the last new service for serverless is Cloud Workflows. So this is similar to AWS Step Functions in a way where you can chain multiple cloud functions, or you can chain multiple Cloud Run services to execute a task based on a trigger. So in the example, you can see the trigger is a schedule, but you can have it triggered based on a PubSub event or a Google Cloud event from Stackdriver. Um, it's a very flexible service, and it's very useful for chaining multiple serverless functions or services to execute a complex task. So Cloud Workflows ensures about the reliable communication between these services and the execution retry for each of the steps here. So each component here is called a step in Cloud Workflows, and it's a very flexible service. Like I said, you can define the entire workflow in a YAML format, and you can interact with even services outside of GCP. You can trigger HTTP services, you can send emails, and you can read secrets from Secret Manager. You can use it to do a lot of things, and you can check out the documentation in the link that I've mentioned here. So coming to a conclusion, these are all of the links that I think will be very useful for more of your study, and to catch up more with the serverless services from GCP, and we will make these slides available to you later. So in the meetup group, do join the GDG Bangalore Cloud Bangalore meetup group to get the slides and the links. So I would be happy to take any questions from the audience. If there's anyone to let me know.
Hey, thanks, Kaivalya, for that wonderful deep dive on the various new offerings on serverless, especially focused around cloud run and the cloud function. So that was very helpful. And I believe the people who have tuned in also found it helpful. I personally did because I did not attend all of the online sessions from Cloud Next per se. So that was like a really good overview of it. We do not have any questions right now. The only one we had was from Mohit, and I believe you had answered it. So I guess we can call it a wrap in that case. Thank you again, Kailash. So you want to add anything from your end?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Ransi. Thank you for inviting me once again. And surely the aim of the talk was to just give a single source of news and features where there has been an overload of these new features and services from Google. So not everyone can go through all of the documentation and announcement. So this was my best effort to bring everything together and give it in a single source. So yeah, thank you for inviting me again. And yeah, just to let the audience know, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. And feel free to ask me any questions on the social media. I would be very happy to have a conversation.
Sure, definitely. And I just saw a comment right now from Alay Tagia. You have a big fan following. So he's sort of like a big fan and he's saying thank you for it. So thank you, Alay. Glad you found it useful.
Thank you.
All right. So
Thanks.
until next time, it's a wrap from all of us and see you soon. All right. Bye bye.